All right. What are we talking about here? We're going to talk about managing schedules and balancing life.
Work-life balance, especially going into
Work-life integration or work-life balance?
Yes.
All right.
Especially going into the holidays and getting back into exercise for both of us.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how that's worked out. I think now more so than ever, especially like during this time of year, I see more people, and the old cliche of like stress around the holidays. I mean, yeah, but like there's more to it than that. It's
Before we get too much into it, we need to actually introduce ourselves.
Let's just roll. Let's just roll. Let's just roll. Continue your thought.
All right.
Yeah. Should I introduce myself?
I mean, you may as well now.
Too late. I am. My name's Aaron. I am head coach and owner at Ctown Fitness in Fairview Park. Let's see. I've been doing this for a little over 10 years now, and still feel like I have nothing figured out.
That
every day is a new day.
But that means, yeah, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
The more you learn, the more you don't know anything. That's
exactly.
That's my theory. That's my theory. All right. So anyway, continue your thought. Let's keep that going.
Oh,
so we're talking about holidays and fitness and
yeah. Just I see a lot of people drop off around this time of year, maybe because they say, the schedule's crazy, or work is just busy, or hey, I got family in town, I got to take some time off. Like there's always something going on. I guess where do we fit ourselves into that equation? Like why is our own body, our own minds taking a backseat to a schedule or to someone or something else? Like if we're not around, I'll insert the old oxygen mask thing from the airlines. Like if we don't put our oxygen mask on first and we don't take care of ourselves, what happens when we're gone? Like we're no use when we're in a box or, we're cremated or whatever. Not to be too morbid, but I guess it's like
we went from Thanksgiving to box.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Right. I don't know how to follow that one. No, I see it start in September or October and get like really heavy with the stress as we get close to Christmas and first of the year.
I mean, we can even group that into our conversation this morning with everybody in terms of just the cancellations we've had of everybody's lives getting nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always a thing, right? When we first started, like, hey, we're going to do a podcast and I don't know who came up with it, Aaron or Cara, but this idea of like work-life balance, like it's always a thing. And then now we're adding time and holidays and all that kind of stuff on top of it. So I mean, I was like, yeah, let's do it because I don't have it figured out. I promise you that.
Yeah. And I mean, your work, we can even add another layer. The fact that, I leave work at 5-6 o'clock, it's pitch dark out. And it's like, oh God, am I supposed to walk the dog now, go for a run outside and it's cold, it's dark, and you want to just go to bed rather than go to the gym or do more work or whatever your responsibility is supposed to do.
Yeah. What's interesting is like we're seeing a shift in, or at least I feel like we're seeing a shift in fitness where it's not always about more intensity or doing more, but like being smarter with your time.
Mm-hmm.
So when or where do we take the approach like in the other areas of our life? And like, why does fitness always become the first thing that people cut out or their mental health?
Before we dive into it, do you think it is fitness or do you think it's just like people just don't put themselves first, whether you're talking, taking care of, I just saw like a marketing post where somebody posted how much their vet bill was. It was like $4,000 or something like that. how many people would drop $4,000 on themselves to do a fitness thing or a health related thing?
Yeah.
So is it just a personality thing? Is it mainstream? Or I just don't think it's just fitness. I think it's self-care, period.
I think you're right. I see it I think medical professionals are starting to see it now too. Not to go into the whole like vaccine thing, you know, whether you're anti-vax or vax, whatever. But I think medical professionals see where people are. I don't want to say ignore, because I have hope for this, but like it's almost to the point where people are ignoring signs that their health is declining. Like whether they're gaining weight, they're having heart issues. The doctor told them, hey, your cholesterol is really high. Like people, for some reason, always put anything related to their health on a back burner. And I know that's kind of a generalization, like people in general, not everybody is like that, but I see a large group of the society that's around us at the point where like, I need to work, I need to make money, I need to take care of my family. I'll get to my health later. Yeah. But like your health never waits. Like your health doesn't take a vacation and says, hey, I'll see you in like 10 years.
It may be more of a very poor insight into the future, preparing for the future. Because I feel as if those folks also have probably don't have like 401k set up or a retirement plan set up, or, you know, Nick, you could probably chime in on this, but college funds for their children set up, and they just start very much living day to day.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you that I personally feel like I'm guilty of it. You know, I kind of prioritized the business, and we got married and we bought a house and had a kid, you know, like you just kind of prioritize all these things. And all of a sudden you're like, man, I haven't done a really good workout in a while, or you know, I can tell I'm not eating well, or, I mean, heck, we just had a baby 3 weeks ago. I ate like crap for 3 weeks. Right. I mean, we bought Chipotle and random, you know what I mean? We were eating frozen foods out of the freezer because we just were, right? You're trying to like survive the moment.
Because it becomes a time thing.
It's not, I mean, it is and it isn't. I think it's like, I was home. I had time. I was tired, but I had time. Yeah. But we still didn't want to cook. We still didn't want to. I wonder how much of it's a stress thing, and then the things you prioritize to reduce stress. Because I think we had time. I think like we weren't sleeping and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like there weren't hours in the day.
The time thing is interesting because like all of us feel like we're pressed for time. Like we have the time if we make the time.
Yeah.
Right. But like some of us feel powerless to like make the time because we're imprisoned by our own box that we built like in our heads to actually live. Right. So just from personal experience, like you guys know, like I'm recovering from hernia surgery, and it's been ingrained, I think, by me, or at least maybe parts of like how I grew up, or like the people that I was around, to like go to work every day and just work, like work. And, you know, that's great to have like a work ethic like that. But like at some point you have to take care of yourself. And if you're somebody like me, where you work, you know, 12 to let's say 15 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, and you average 4.5 hours of sleep for a couple of years, some things can go really, really bad. And I think in my case, I probably got a hernia because I worked out really hard during those, you know, years. I work a lot of hours. I wasn't recovering. I wasn't sleeping enough. My stress level was super high. At some point, something gives. It wasn't my heart, thank God, but it was my abdomen instead.
And Nick, you and I have talked about this in the past of people's stress levels become so high so consistently that just becomes their new normal, and they don't know how to deregulate that back down. Yeah. They're just so used to constantly going.
Yeah, I think I think it was Caitlin Glenn, a therapist friend of mine. We were talking about buckets, right? Like, how much energy do you have in a day, and where are you going to put it? Because it, I, I think when you're, especially if you're in that stress, kind of like you're in that stress mode, it's almost like you're trying to put out fires, and
Oh, totally.
like, hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, and then to prioritize exercise or fitness on top of that is like I'm already stressed out. I don't need more stress, kind of that feel. And then I think in my mind, there's two categories. There's people that are super stressed out, and then they go crazy high intensity fitness to get even more of that kind of sympathetic drive and just kind of beat themselves into exhaustion type of a thing, which is, I think, a burnout waiting to happen or an injury waiting to happen. And then there's people that just avoid it. They just like, no, I'm not going to do it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think I think it's a tough conversation. If it was simple, everybody knows they should be exercising. So if it was simple, we would just see healthier people, right? There's a lot to this.
So here's a question that I've been asking like myself the last few weeks. When it comes to like work-life balance, I like to say work-life integration because I feel like your work should integrate with your life and vice versa. So it's not this constant like push and pull, but if your work and life integration is out of whack, let's say you're too tired to work out, you're too stressed to work out, you have poor eating habits, you're tired a good portion of the day, like what's the first thing to start with? Like people, I think people that ask me like, hey, I just don't have the energy to work out and I feel like I don't have the time. Where do I start? Do I just start lifting weights? Do I just start working out? Or is there something else that I have to start with? And like, there was a time where I said, you know what, you should just start going to the gym and just start working out. And then now I almost feel like we have to work things out like up here. Like people need to get okay with the fact that like, if they want to change their lifestyle, what it looks like, what it's going to feel like they have to walk themselves through that instead of just shoot first, ask questions later.
I think that hits the nail on the head. If you can mentally wrap your head around that new lifestyle change, then you're going to get there. What do you do for people, Aaron? Like when somebody asks you that question, and I mean, what are you doing for a new member or somebody that's having an issue with that?
I think it depends on the case. Like I hate saying like it depends, but I think we live in a world of individualization nowadays, like in fitness and wellness. Like there's no two cases that are exactly the same. I mean, sure, my gym does a lot of group oriented classes, but we kind of pride ourselves on individualizing the experience. So, I mean, does the person work from home? Are they a mom? Are they a dad? Like, I can speak for like a couple of cases that I work with, and that's, I work with a couple of dads early in the morning, and they're two very good friends of mine. One is an attorney and one is in marketing, and they have different stress levels, and they're two completely different individuals. They have different personalities, but like the three of us together, we're like the three musketeers. We just like hit it off. We have a good time in the morning. Like they're coming in not only to work on themselves, but to have like guy time. Some people need just an hour away from their home environment, which could be like their work environment too. Like ever since the pandemic, work and home has become integrated. So where are people having that separation of like work and home that can sometimes be, beneficial for them? Some people, they're not getting that now. So the gym is like the release. So it depends on the person's goals. If somebody's goal is to lose weight, like number one, I want to understand like why they want to lose weight. Like what's the emotional tie to them saying that they want to lose weight or that they want to be in better shape. And that's where you have to have a very personal conversation with the person. And it becomes much more than, hey, let's just start working out and I need you to start eating this way. Well, what if the person travels a lot, like, and they can't control their food all the time. Well, what does that look like? So if you're starting to change someone's lifestyle, like as a coach, you kind of need to meet them in the middle or meet them where they're at, instead of trying to get them to shift all the way over to where you want them to be at their end point. Like, we need to start them at step one. And step one is, hey, let's start thinking about some of the things that you you can control in your daily life. So, like, can you stand more at work because you sit in an office chair a lot? Can you drink more water? Like, things that are at your fingertips that you can change. And then I think you progress things from there, depending on the person. But that's where I start.
And another thing to consider, those things are always a moving target. Mm-hmm. Even on myself, I feel as every once in a while I have to do a self-assessment of, how many hours of sleep am I sleeping? How much water I'm getting in, how many times we're eating out during the week, and just kind of put myself into check. Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I've kind of almost gotten okay with, like, there's just, okay, it's going to be balanced. Well, sure, fine. But the reality is, like, there's things that are going to happen that are going to upset that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Can we find ways to not upset the big goal, though? Like the big picture, right? Like, again, we just had a baby a few weeks ago. The reality is, like, life is going to look pretty different for a little bit, and then, so I wasn't getting as much work done. I wasn't getting, maybe some of the fitness goals done. All right. But what can we do to kind of make sure that at least we're not falling off a cliff and we're able to get back into it afterwards too? Because that's the other piece of it. Like, things are going to happen, but how do we make sure it's not a 6-month tumble versus a 6-week tumble?
Yeah.
I think it goes back to the mental side, like having a conversation with yourself or with someone that can help lead you through that with yourself of, like, here's how things are going to look for a little while. Like, I think, there's so many people that are all or nothing, they get in this constant, like, well, because I'm not perfect, what, the hell with it. Like, I'm going to eat that pizza. I'm going to eat the donuts. I'm not going to work out. I'm going to work long hours, whatever, like, their vice may be. But I think when people can grasp and understand that this is a process and a journey that's not perfect and progress is not linear, we can start to finagle some things, to move that person in the right direction. But if we're constantly trying to be perfect, we're almost doing ourselves a disservice, mm-hmm. and setting ourselves up for a really hard day, or a day where we just throw everything away because, hey, I was 100 calories off on my diet. Like, mm-hmm. Who the fuck cares about 100 calories?
Like, the nutritional labels themselves are that.
Yeah, exactly.
Much air.
Right.
And because on top of it, I think a really big piece of it is really sitting down and having an honest conversation with yourself and what your priorities are and how willing you are to change. If I start to go off track, anybody that I coach, I like to sit down and make, 2 or 3 non-negotiables with your day, like at least 3 very simple things that you can just check off to make a step in the right direction. So like I was saying earlier, so personally, I'm just getting back into working out myself. But now that I hadn't been working out, that time got filled with other things. So, I mean, mine were all things I could do from home and kind of refocus where I want to be in life. So it's, making sure I walk the dogs every single day, getting an hour of some sort of reading in, and then the other one was hydration based. And it was something to just, at the end of the day, assess how I did and see if I need to make any adjustments going into my next day.
What do you do if you miss it? Because it's easy to go, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And then you screw it up. And then what?
So that's where, one, you cannot be hard on yourself because, like you said, life happens. Mm-hmm. But trying to figure out how to fix that for the next day. Yeah. So say, we didn't walk the dogs. well, maybe that time slot didn't really work out. Like maybe morning, because like we were going at night. Now it's pitch black out. Maybe it'd be better if we go in the mornings before work and trying that route. But if you constantly, you're constantly not doing the same thing over and over again, but you're not trying different, ways to go about it, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you got to take a look at when you say, okay, why didn't it happen? You got to look at yourself a little bit too, right? Like, again, I just use myself as an example. It's really easy to say, oh, we just had a baby, so I can't do this. Well, yeah. But you probably could have, like you're kind of putting those restraints on yourself. So I think some of it is that intrinsic, extrinsic control too. Like, oh, my job sucks, or I got this long commute, I can't get this done. Okay, that is a hamper, it's a barrier, but how can we work around those things?
Yeah. And I mean, just people, a lot of times people, they say how busy they are. But they really sat down and looked, how many hours a day they spent scrolling through social media, spent watching Netflix, all the things that even sitting in line for Starbucks, as silly as that sounds, all the things that really add up, that time could totally be used for, to actually work towards your goals.
Right. But that comes back to what Aaron said, right? That's a mental thing. If you're scrolling on social media, you're distracting yourself from something, right? You're looking for that little dopamine hit, or you're stressed out and you're trying to escape something, or something's going on, right? If you feel like you got to be on social for 9 hours, or you're watching 15 episodes of Netflix.
It all starts with the mind. At least it's like the more and more I think that you guys like work with people and I work with people, and I think the more cases that I see, it's like this has become not so much like a fitness and health problem, but like I know mental health is becoming like really, really big, like in the marketplace. And I think there's a reason for that. I think more people are waking up to the idea that like maybe just some of why they're held back in like approaching or starting like their journey to like get to their, their goals is due to the fact that like maybe they haven't managed their time well, because like they're looking for something they haven't found yet. Like they're not getting happiness or fulfillment from their job. So it's stressing them out, using up a lot of their mental energy. And by the time they're done with the day, they don't feel like doing anything. Maybe it's a relationship that's exhaustive for them. Maybe they're in God forbid, an abusive relationship that, is causing them not to want to work on themselves. They feel like they're in a hole. And this is why, there's so many individual cases out there, and who knows like what's actually holding people back. And that's exactly why a conversation needs to be had, that no one could be roped into one category.
And for a lot of times it's how people really identify themselves. If people don't see themselves as somebody who works out, they're not going to, do actions that support that. Because now they're the person who, goes home and watches TV at night.
Yeah. Right. So with like health, so this is something that's interesting to look at. 10 years ago, fitness was totally different than it is now, in the sense that like CrossFit was becoming really big at the time, and we preached high intensity, and it was like CrossFit versus the world, and the world versus CrossFit. And now it's almost like nobody knows where fitness is going to go right now. Like everything's kind of up in the air. And maybe it's not that like, I think fitness is always going to be there. I don't think you can really reinvent the wheel with fitness. There's always going to be different philosophies and, different strategies around like how to get people stronger, faster, in better shape. But if you're in the fitness industry right now, or you have ties to it, I think if you're wanting to stick around in the future, you have to tie yourself to some sort of messaging with mental health. Like you have to, part of your business or part of your philosophy needs to be tied into working with people on their mental well-being. Without that, I don't think people are gonna, stick around long enough to support your business or support your craft.
I agree with you 100%. I think when I look at fitness, I think you got the competitive side, and you're going to have people that want to compete in sport, and there's a performance side to that, and bigger, faster, stronger, all that kind of stuff is going to be prioritized. And the mental health on that side is different, right? It's sports psychology, and it's making sure we're able to perform. But then on the other side, there's this whole adult fitness world of what is the best exercise to improve mental health, right? Like, if you're feeling off and you go for a jog or you get on the bike and you ride for a while, you even just get outside and go for a hike, all of a sudden you're like, oh, my thoughts are a little more clear, or, you're a little more positive. You got a little more positive outlook. How do we maximize that? And also, I don't know if it's just not like sexy enough or what, but it's not promoted in fitness. Like, there's a lot of research that even basic levels of exercise improve anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I mean, there's a chunk of it. So why is that not getting pushed? Is it a marketing thing? Is it like we don't want to have that conversation? To your point, Aaron, like how do we ingrain that in fitness in the future for our people?
Yeah, my wife would be smiling right now because she is in marketing, and she constantly tells me we need to work on your messaging. Like we need to work on like what you're educating the marketplace on, or like how people are going to perceive who you are and what you do. And I suck at marketing.
Because you'll have the product placement going on,
right?
With the Fit Aid industry.
I have no clue what I'm doing.
I gotta get that sponsorship.
Yeah, right. I do know. I love talking to people, and I love one-on-one conversation. But when it comes to marketing, I have no clue what I'm doing. So what's interesting is I'm now having conversations with my wife about how do we change our messaging? Like what we do inside of the gym, we need to keep doing, but how do we change our messaging online or what we do through social media? And I feel like we're already starting to do that. And I see other professionals doing the same, but I feel like industry wide as a whole needs to move in the same direction that like people that are talking about like how to integrate mental health and physical health. Until we do that, we're always going to be battling what it feels like each other on like, hey, how should we work with people? Like, should the mental health component like play a part or should it not? I feel that it should. But until everybody gets on board with that, there's always going to be this, this constant battle. And I want to say that hopefully within the next few years, what you'll see is more gyms providing like a mental health service and are providing like educational material on how to sustain a healthy diet for themselves and not a fat diet. And you have people that know how to work with like high level injuries, such as yourselves. You guys work with, you guys.
He says he's not good at marketing.
No, I love conversation.
He's so nice to us.
It's so hard. Like going back to a conversation that like you and I had a while ago. Actually, when I first met you guys, it was know what you're like really good at, and the things that like you're not so good at, either delegate or get better. Like I'm somebody that loves to work around people, so I'd rather delegate because I love so much what I'm good at. I want to do it all day long. But the things that I'm not so good at, I don't want to take away from the things that I really enjoy to do the things that I don't enjoy and I'm not good at, just for the sake of like making more money. like, I don't care about the money. I'd rather give the money to other people that they can do it way better than I can. So I think, getting back to like, what does this look like in the future? I think as a whole, as an industry, it's going to require collaboration from like all of these different areas. So like what we're doing, or like we've teamed up together and we work together with clients that are in the gym and whatnot. Like I also have a registered dietitian. I also like have a mental health specialist on staff. So when we see more facilities like that, I think we can start to make like some progress where it's what we see is more and more people not beating themselves into the dirt.
Yeah. You're seeing that divide in CrossFit, right? I mean, you got
clearly.
CrossFit, the competitive on ESPN nonsense, and then you got CrossFit Health, right? So it's like you're almost seeing that divide happening in the CrossFit community as well. Aaron, you're in it way deeper than we are. How is that, like, what is your take on that, and how is that impacting your business and the community?
Yeah, that's really interesting, because there was a time probably 5 years ago, I actually got to Ctown. One of my close friends brought me here. So to give you a backstory, I was going to open my own gym, and a week before I was going to cut a check for the equipment and the space, this guy I met this dude who owned a gym, and it's like, have you ever thought about, working in a place like this? Like, I know you were gonna open your own place. I'm like, man, I put a lot of like time and energy into like opening my own place. I think my wife would kill me if I said I was gonna work someplace else. She'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you spent all this time on like your, on your baby, on your passion. And I came home one day, I'm like, hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I really think I'm meant to work at Ctown. And she's like, are you nuts? I'm like, I mean, yeah, but I like, something about this place just feels like I should be there. And that's kind of how I got started at Ctown. And then I eventually took ownership this past year. But what I've seen since the time that I got to Ctown, which was like my second stint with CrossFit, that was right about the time where, like, at least my organization that I'm a part of decided we were going to keep doing CrossFit like classes, and we were going to be an affiliate. We were going to have our own name, and we weren't going to be, Ctown CrossFit. We were going to be Ctown Fitness, and we were going to start to reshape ourselves into what like we want it to be. A lot of people have different philosophies on that, whether that's right or wrong, but that's what we felt like was best for us. Instead of someone else or another organization dictating our messaging to the public, we were now going to take a little bit more control over, how we were perceived. And initially, like, the first person through the door gets bloody. Like, we took so much heat for it. There was so much talk, like, in the community, like, hey, Ctown, like, has lost their mind. Like, they're making all these changes. Like, they're crazy. And granted, we were crazy and we made a lot of mistakes, but, just like any other instance in life, like, you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be shortcomings, but as long as you learn from some of those mistakes, like, you'll eventually end up in a place, like, if you've put in the time and the work to put yourself in a good position to take a step forward. That's what I feel like we did during my time here. Before I was an owner, we were laying a lot of the groundwork for how I actually operate the gym now. And when I took over, I just kind of pulled the trigger on some, on some things that I've been wanting to, which is like bringing in a therapy group, bringing in a registered dietitian, bringing in a mental health specialist, So all those things were kind of being laid out the last like 4 or 5 years. But I have seen where like other gyms have decided to become, more competitive, where like it's not about holistic health. It's more so about like, hey, we're going to do local comps. We're going to do, things that gear themselves around the games. And that's totally cool. Like if that's their demographic, their target market, like who am I to say that like that's wrong? It's just identifying who you want to work with, who you have a passion with. And that's fine. It's just like, I have a passion for working with, people that are athletes and former athletes, but not necessarily to keep them in a competitive mindset. It's more or less to get them, in a point where they're really happy about where they are.
It kind of the funny thing at the end of the day is, when somebody's really happy at their gym and they have they have all these resources available, they're kind of set up to be able to and do well at local comps, which is what a lot of the local competitive gyms are setting them up for anyway.
Yeah, in a passive way. Like it's not that I'm trying to make them worse at lifting heavy weights or worse at doing gymnastics. Like we still work with people on a very high level on those things, but instead of it becoming only about those things, those categories have now just become a part of what they do. And, community is super important, like in our gym, but the mental well-being of each person is the most important. And that's where I spend the most time with people, working with them. It's, it's conversations that we have before and after class. It's when we're hanging out outside of the gym. It's texts and phone calls to ask them, how are their kids doing? So I think in a way, like from where like we started, at least where I came in and where we are now is totally different. The vibe is different in the gym. But that ball was set in motion, like I said, when I first got here by previous ownership. It's just, sometimes the people that lay the groundwork aren't the people that, carry the torch long term. And that's what I kind of feel like what happened. I was fortunate enough to be in a situation where a lot of things were set in motion, and I kind of just had to finish things off and continue them. So yeah.
To kind of pull some things together in the beginning of this chat, we were talking about how when you get stressed, first thing that really falls off the deep end is exercise and going to the gym. So if somebody is becoming stressed or something is disrupting their mental health and they're not coming to classes, do you have some sort of protocol in place that alerts you after they miss so many days or so many classes?
Yes, I do.
What does that look like?
And people know right away. They're like, how'd you know I hadn't been in class? I'm like, well, I have it set up to know if you checked in or not. So besides the fact that I'm in the gym for a really good portion of the day and I see everybody that comes in through the doors, I also have a system set up that lets me know when someone hasn't been in class in 10 days. So like we understand people go on vacation and, things pop up, like things happen. Like you can miss a week of exercise. It's okay. When we start getting past that 10-day mark, like it's either, okay, they're out of town, they're out of the country, or like they're like in a rut, like with work or family. And it's, I reach out to people not to get them into class. It's to understand what's happening, because holy shit, what if somebody's like loved one passed away or whatever, like, and I'm barking at them about getting in the gym. Like I'm an asshole. So I want to like the whole point of our conversations, at least with our coaches and our clients, is to understand their situation, see if there's anything we can do to help, and then start taking steps forward. So yeah, I do have a system in place, and like I watch it like a hawk daily. So if I get a notification that somebody hasn't been in class, I reach out to that person right away. And that's just, I don't know, like not everybody wants to do that, but like I said, that's kind of how I roll.
I mean, I think in my mind, people do group fitness for one of two things. They want accountability, but there's a lot of ways to get that. And then I think the bigger one's community. And I think if you can lock both of those things down, people are going to be successful. And I think just the way you explain that of, I just want to check in, see how you're doing. Like that resonates with people. Like they're obviously going to feel that. And that's, you know, it's going to be a place where they want to go, right, when they're stressed. And that, I think that's even when you talk about the way you structure your gym and there's no right or wrong, there is a difference. Like if you're competing every day, then you're competing every day. And there's people that want to compete, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like help them compete.
No.
But then there's people that just want like a lifestyle place and they want to make sure they're healthy and they're doing the mental health things and those kinds of things. And it's just, I think it looks different. I don't know how some CrossFit gyms blend it, because there are some that they do a pretty good job of having like a comp program and then like your regular lifestyle program. I think it's so hard.
It's definitely difficult. It's a lot of energy. It's taxing. Like you said, it definitely can be done. I think to do it very well, not necessarily like to do it right, but to do it well and, to not burn your coaches out. They definitely need to be separate. And like the whole competition side and the regular class side needs to be separate. But I also think like in the end, they all still do need to be part of a community. I mean, at that point, you're talking about culture. Like what kind of a culture do you want?
Yeah.
Like, are the competitors driving that culture? In some ways that can be really good. In other ways it can be toxic. And, on the same token, like you also don't want to create a culture of like, taking it easy on people every day, day in and day out, and creating a lax, culture where like, hard work is not present. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like you have to find a balance, and that's hard. Like that takes months and months, in some cases years, to build in a gym. So it's not only having the coaches there that are the right fits, but also the right people that come to the gym. Like it is it is crazy how like sensitive those things are, like how those pieces are intertwined.
Yeah. Because it all comes back to that mental health.
Yeah.
Like
you said, it's very much on like your message, not only on social media, but even how you're leading in front of your classes. And you see it where, some gyms, they try and cater maybe to non-competitive CrossFitters, but then maybe in class they're sitting there being like, oh my God, look at this person who just deadlifted all like so much weight. Well, now your members are confused. It's like, well, am I supposed to come in and kill every single workout like that and be a competitive person, or do you want more of a non-competitive crowd?
Yeah, I was just talking.
Everything just needs to be consistent.
Yeah, I was just talking to Jason over at Cadre, and the owner there, and they took the words RX out of their programming. So they went to levels. So it's level 1, level 2, level 3, but the word RX is gone. Just that message of, well, this is what the prescription is. Well, if I can't do that now, I'm not as good, right? So I love that. I was like, you just look at it, you go, hey, I'm going to do whatever level I want to do based on my health and my fitness and my training history, but it's not I'm not good enough, right? Like that's kind of the message.
I love that.
I like that a lot.
And I mean, my husband always disagrees with me on this, because I think it's because of it's more of a old CrossFit mentality where he loved having like everybody's scores on the whiteboard, where I've always hated it. And so I much more prefer the gyms that have more just the like Zen, like the I don't think you actually put like Modify.
Like the results are like online.
Yeah, whatever. If you are interested in logging and posting your results, you can, but it's not a end of the class, everybody's yelling out their score and you're sitting there like, well, I feel like a piece of shit.
Yeah, like I mean, these are all things that like I saw through the last like 10 years. Like there are so many intricacies to what we do. Like it's not the average person's job who comes in the gym to really know what we do. It's not, they don't need to go into all this stuff, but I mean, every single thing matters. Every single thing. How you greet the person when they walk in. You know, how are you communicating with the client through the class? Are you like as a coach, are you walking around through class and building relationships as they're going through it? And while you're building relationships, are you giving them valuable feedback? Like, are you making them feel like that is the best hour of their day? And if the answer is yes, then thumbs up. And if the answer is no, like you got to look at like, okay, where did I go wrong in my process?
Yeah. So many factors at play. And I mean, I think we covered a lot of cool stuff here. I know Cara's got to run. Speaking of work-life balance, she's got an evaluation to do.
What the hell? You're supposed to do all work.
I literally looked up. I was like, it is 3:05. Let me text him real quick.
When this gets published, you can just be like, this is what I was doing.
A few minutes late. Fashionably late.
Fashionably late.
I don't think that works for appointments.
No.
You gotta make an entrance.
It's pretty cool though now that Zoom is alerting me that I'm trying to raise my hand, even though we're just kind of talking with our hands. Did you get a notification, Nick?
Yeah, I saw it. It's probably going to be on the recording too. We'll see. All right. Well, let's wrap this up. We'll certainly circle back and talk about more. I'm personally and with our clients, I'm just so invested in this idea of what is the optimal fitness for mental health, for longevity, aging. It's just, I think it's a neglected area in fitness. I think the competitive stuff is, certainly everybody's getting better at training competitive athletes. And I think there's a whole market there of, I mean, heck, look at the Browns are still getting injured. So I think there's a competitive side of, we need to get better at competitive training too. But I think just probably where my life has taken me, I'm super interested in the aging side of it and the health side. And then Cara's got all her weightlifters where she's doing the competitive side, and it just keeps it fun, right? It keeps it fun.
But just so ironic because I've spent the beginning of my career in geriatrics. It's like I was all geared towards it.
That's probably why you're ready to do something else.
Like, hey guys, I did geriatrics. They're like, oh great.
Yeah.
Where do you want to compete?
Yeah.
Now let's do competition. All right, guys. Aaron, we'll tag you in all this stuff and we'll go from there. But let's get wrapped up so Cara can do her thing.
Yep.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Back to it.